Major funding for NJTV News is provided in part by the members of the New Jersey Education Association, making public schools great for every child, and PSE&G. We make things work for communities.
Tonight on NJTV News, Murphy's union supporters hear his pitch.
Governor Murphy sticks with his 2 tax hike proposals in a speech to the AFL-CIO, and despite legislative pushback.
It's renewed, it's improved. It used to be the Revel, but now it's the Ocean Resort Casino Hotel. We took a tour.
Keeping the government out of your hair, the braiding business, that is. New Jersey looks to ease regulations on professional hair braiders.
Plus, another ICE sweep nabbed scores of unauthorized immigrants. How serious a threat did they pose? And a kid who trained to be a fighter is packing a more indelible punch through his paintings. Those stories and more next on NJTV News.
Live from the Agnes Varus NJTV studio at 2 Gateway Center in Newark, this is NJTV News with Mary Alice Williams.
Hello, thank you for joining us. With the clock ticking toward the state's hard deadline to pass a budget or shut down the government, Governor Murphy's pushed his progressive budget in private talks with legislative leaders. But today, Chief Political Correspondent Michael Aaron reports he took his pitch public before a very friendly audience.
The Honorable Governor Phil Murphy. Hello, Murphy.
Governor Murphy got a standing ovation from the AFL-CIO. He listed about 10 things he's done for labor, more in 5 months than Chris Christie did in 8 years, he told them, and he thanked them for their electoral support.
Without your work last fall, I would not be standing here today.
He called them an important partner in his ambition to modernize the state.
New Jersey was built by organized labor hands, and it will be organized labor hands that will rebuild our state. You have my word.
Murphy's visit came at a time when he's arm wrestling with legislative leaders over tax hikes. Murphy wants to increase the income tax on millionaires and restore the sales tax to 7% from its current 6 5/8. Senate President Sweeney and Assembly Speaker Coughlin, both Democrats, are fearful of raising those. Sweeney's preference is a 2-year surcharge on the corporate business tax. Coughlin wants to raise revenue through a tax amnesty program. Today's Star-Ledger reported on a 1-page memo from the Democrats that appears to sharpen the battle line. Murphy today stuck with his tax proposals.
Yes, asking the very wealthiest among us to pay a little bit more so we can invest. Yeah.
He doubled down on the sales tax hike as well.
And yes, undoing a complete gimmick and resetting the sales tax so we can invest in child care tax credits for working families is the right thing to do.
Legislative Democrats like Senator Jeff Van Drew are against the millionaire's tax and raising the sales tax.
The corporate tax even concerns me. You know, we've been taxed, tolled, feed, and charged to death in the state of New Jersey, and I think it's really problematic to have increases in taxes at any level at this point.
So far, neither side has budged.
Sustainable, responsible investment requires sustainable, responsible revenues, and I feel good about where we've been and where we are.
What inning are we in?
We're still playing baseball.
Labor leaders we spoke to liked what they heard from Murphy.
I think it's going to be a good governor for us, very positive, union-friendly.
A fraction of a percent in sales tax, if it brings revenue, we're suffering from no revenue, lack of revenue. Clearly, the millionaire's tax, I believe, is a good idea.
The legislature has to behave responsibly. So one-shots are not going to work. We've shown that many times in New Jersey.
Together, we can pass a budget that ends the games and gimmicks of the past and invests in our working families. That's what this is all about.
In the next 2.5 weeks, Murphy and the legislative leaders have to arrive at an agreement, or else state government will shut down July 1st. The question is, who blinks first? In Atlantic City, I'm Michael Aaron, NJTV News.
Atlantic City's betting on 2 new casinos, both scheduled to open on June 28th. The Hard Rock rehab of the former Trump Taj Mahal will have a strip club. The Ocean Resort Casino, rising on what was Revel, aims to be more family-friendly. Senior correspondent Brenda Flanagan got a sneak peek.
16 days to go, and Atlantic City's Ocean Resort Casino hotels racing to get ready. 2,000 slot machines stand in easy-to-use groups as workmen tinker with roulette tables. Dead center on the casino's 138,000-square-foot floor, a brand-new sports betting parlor takes shape and will open for wagers when the casino goes live June 28th.
This is the heart of our casino. This will create amazing energy. There's nothing better than seeing a lively group cheering on their favorite team. This is, the casino is supposed to be a fun, vibrant, exciting environment, and oftentimes the sports book is the heart of that excitement. And I think that Atlantic City will benefit greatly from having that added experience to all of its casino resorts. Advisor Seth Shore took reporters on a preview tour of the former Revel Casino, which closed in 2014 after 2 bankruptcies. Ocean Resort CEO aims to fix Revel's biggest mistake by targeting families instead of catering exclusively to high rollers. Ocean Resort is a family-owned business. The Dyfik family created a truly family environment here, which is something that not only did it not exist at Revel, but it really doesn't exist anywhere in the casino resort industry today. An attraction called The Den will feature esports, including skill-based slots and arcades. 1,400 refurbished hotel rooms offer killer views, but day trippers will be able to dine at affordable buffets. It will permit smoking on 25% of the casino floor. And so we created a much more diverse offering, so that everybody, depending on what their budget is or what their taste is at that moment, can come here and enjoy the facility. The casino will still offer high rollers special benefits, and a big new spa will draw customers. New signage and virtual kiosks will help customers navigate what used to be a confusing layout, and live ambassadors will offer assistance.
We are going to be walking around, and if any of the customers have any questions and they want to talk to us and they say, what events do you have going on tonight? We're going to have all of that information. Ocean Resorts will hire 3,200 staffers. Many are training now. Atlantic County's unemployment rates dropped from 7.2 to 6% just since March.
It's been very tough. I've been out of work since Taj closed, pretty much. I haven't had a full-time job. So we're just all happy that we're working.
I was like, thank you, God. I was like, thank you. Amen.
The Dyfiks invested $200 million to buy this iconic property and another $150 million to renovate it. It'll open as Atlantic City's 9th casino 3 hours after Hard Rock, the former Taj Mahal. Meanwhile, other casinos are scrambling for the sports betting market. In fact, Borgata could be the first Atlantic City casino to take bets at its racebook parlor as soon as it gets licensed by the Division of Gaming Enforcement. Shore says all casinos will benefit. We're about Atlantic City. We're about growing the market. We're about reminding the world, and certainly the Northeast, that Atlantic City is here. Ocean Resort scheduled its so-called soft open for June 25th and 26th. That's when the casinos will have practice play. It opens for real bets on the 28th at 3 p.m. In Atlantic City, I'm Brenda Flanagan, NJTV News.
Which brings us to the state's business news. Standing by at the Strategic Development Group studio at the NJCU School of Business is Rhonda Schaffler. Rhonda, a major merger that the Justice Department tried to block can now proceed?
That's right, Mary Alice. In a decision that could shake up the media industry, a federal judge late today gave the green light for AT&T's $85 billion purchase of Time Warner, which owns cable channels CNN and HBO. The decision followed a 6-week trial and came after the U.S. Justice Department sued in 2016 to stop the deal, saying it could lead to higher prices for consumers. The judge's decision could lead to new alliances in media and entertainment as companies seek to both produce and distribute content. In fact, as early as tomorrow, Comcast could offer a competing bid for 21st Century Fox, which Disney is trying to acquire. Elsewhere, the impact of Governor Murphy's recent decision to freeze spending in the current budget is being felt by hospitals around the state. Today, the state health commissioner told hospital executives that payments to cover the costs of uninsured patients have been delayed. Payments from the Charity Care Fund had been scheduled to go out mid-month. The health commissioner says the timing of the distribution will depend on the ongoing budget process. A Pennsylvania pharmaceutical company may relocate its headquarters to Parsippany, joining a host of other drug companies that call New Jersey home. The State Economic Development Authority has offered a 10-year, $40 million tax incentive package to Teva Pharmaceuticals to support the move. Teva currently has about 230 workers in Parsippany. If it moves its headquarters there, that would bring another 840 jobs to New Jersey. Meantime, the EDA is launching what it calls an innovation challenge, offering eligible communities an opportunity to compete for funds. The idea behind this is to spur what the governor calls the innovation economy. So that could include proposals like promoting entrepreneurs or job training for science and technology careers. In its pilot round, communities can receive up to $100,000 in state funding. It may feel like your paycheck doesn't go as far as it used to, and new numbers today back that up. The government released a report showing inflation in May rose at its fastest rate in more than 6 years. Consumer prices rose 2.8% over the past year, outpacing gains in wages. On Wall Street, a mixed close for stocks. The Dow fell 1.5 points. And those are our top business stories.
Support for the Business Report is provided by Atlantic City Electric, an Exelon company, connecting communities and powering southern New Jersey.
Another ICE sweep has netted 91 foreign nationals federal officials say pose a threat to national security. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement says the roundup in New Jersey included 70 people previously convicted of crimes, including aggravated assault, child endangerment, criminal sexual contact, kidnapping, homicide, or drug offenses, and one El Salvadoran national they identify as an MS-13 gang member wanted by Interpol for trafficking guns and drugs. Those arrested will face proceedings. Those already under a final order of removal will be deported. A measure that would lift licensing requirements on a trade practiced mostly by immigrants has passed the state assembly and is headed for a vote in the Senate. Brianna Vernozzi met some of the practitioners it's meant to help.
Hair braiders meticulously weaving natural and synthetic hair inside this Essex County salon work on up to 10 clients a day. To do it legally, they've got to take about 50 days or 1,200 hours of classes in New Jersey. Problem is, almost none of the cosmetology schools in state teach anything about braiding.
We get this from back home. We don't have to go to school. We learn from each other here. Your sisters, your neighbor, your cousin, we braid each other hair since 7 to 8 years old, you start doing somebody hair.
The law mostly affects women, especially of West African descent, who learn hair braiding as part of their culture and use it as a means to get by after immigrating to the U.S. We met Fatima at her salon, where she employs 8 women. She asked us not to use her last name or that of her business because she operates without a license.
If you have to go to school, it's going to cost me $17,000 to $20,000. And how I can get that if I didn't work. So to go to school, I have to close the shop and go to school. I cannot do that. I cannot pay the school. And I have family. I have to take care of my family here and back home.
Members of the legislature heard that plea, and Assemblywoman Angela McKnight is sponsoring a bill to remove hair braiders from under New Jersey's cosmetology license.
Some of them have been opening up a business not knowing that they have to get this license. And then here comes the cosmetology commission that comes in and say, okay, well, where's your license? So some of them have been getting fined a lot of money.
New Jersey's one of 13 states requiring hair braiders to be licensed by the State Board of Cosmetology and Hairstyling. But a study by the Institute for Justice shows there's little evidence the licensing protects the health and safety of consumers or licensees. And proponents argue natural hair braiders aren't in contact with chemicals or hazardous materials.
It also sets up sort of a regulatory committee, so they're not just operating without any oversight.
Exactly. So we will have that committee. The committee will oversee them. I'm happy that we will have that committee because it will make sure that they are a registered business so that they can continue to pay their taxes to help this economic engine that we have, and it will, oversee to make sure that they're doing okay. They have a clean place, and they're running a business like a business should run.
When we first come from back home, we don't speak language. We don't know where to go. You just have the visa. So this is the work that we can do without having fear. So if it's not this, hair braiding, I don't know what I can do.
The bill still needs to clear the Senate Appropriations Committee and a full Senate vote before heading to Governor Murphy's desk.
23 other states have already exempt hair braiders from licensing requirements. Those found operating without one in New Jersey have been fined as much as $10,000 and say that's enough to put them out of business and sometimes more. So they're hoping for swift action from the governor. Brianna Venozzi, NJTV News.
A measure that would lift liquor license restrictions has passed an initial Assembly committee vote. It would significantly expand the number of restaurants that can sell beer, wine, and spirits, but the attempt to help those entrepreneurs flourish could hurt others. Leah Mishkin has part 2 of our series on alcoholic beverage rules.
The recipes come all the way from Sicily. The owner of Giuseppe's Pizza in Old Bridge, Carlo Castronovo, says he's one of 5 brothers, and they all have pizza shops in New Jersey.
Yeah, I started out just me and one guy in the kitchen, and we grew into a nice little place.
But when we sat down, he told me his business would grow even more if he had a liquor license. The problem, he says, is they're way too expensive. And he says his brothers and fellow pizza shop owners also can't afford it, with the exception of one.
One of them does have a liquor license in West Orange, and it was very difficult, but he got it.
Alcoholic beverage industry attorney Robert Skeen says because there are caps on how many liquor licenses are in circulation, and because a license has to be used by a bar or restaurant in the municipality in which it was issued, the cost can be extreme.
In places like Paramus, you're talking about 1.8 million, Cherry Hill, probably 1.5. Other Bridgewater is gone up to the roof now. It's probably over $1 million in Bridgewater.
Assemblyman John Berzicelli says those costs are limiting economic growth across the state.
We think there's a big part of the economy is held back because these small businesses can't get a liquor license. Mayors of downtown communities working to revitalize know that restaurants are the key. Restaurant has a better chance of surviving if they can sell a drink or two along with dinner.
It's not just the restaurants that benefit, but the ripple effect to other businesses in the area. It could be a coffee shop, it could be a bagel shop, a pastry shop, and other businesses, and really create a vibrant downtown.
But remember, people have been paying hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in some cases over $1 million, to get their hands on a liquor license. Those people know if the system is changed, they're at risk of losing their investment. People we spoke with said just look at what happened to taxi medallion owners in New York City. At their peak, they were worth over $1 million. Now they're being sold for around $200,000 because of external ride-sharing companies disrupting the market.
We certainly want to redevelop blighted areas. We want to get new business. We certainly want more restaurants, but we have to do it in a way that is equitable and fair to those that have bought into an existing system.
The question is, how do you get all the players who have a stake in the process to agree on one solution?
To get there is difficult because you want to protect and respect those who have invested already in the licenses, but you also want to open up what is potentially a very significant economic development tool, particularly for smaller communities.
In the meantime, restaurant owners like Carlo Castronovo wait to see how it plays out, hoping by the end of it, he and his brothers will have a chance to buy a cheaper subclass license to sell beer and wine.
It would be a great thing. It's great for business. It's great for customers as well. They have an option.
Tomorrow, we'll take a look at solutions being considered in Trenton to change the liquor license laws. You can watch the entire series online. Just go to njtvnews.org. Riding the rails for old time's sake, that tops tonight's Garden State Express. Our first stop, Lindenwold, where Patco gave its final 4 original Bud rail cars a nostalgic victory lap to fill East Center City and back before all remnants of their original seating and decor are carved out for an upgrade. Most of these cars, of the original automatically operated trains in the United States, have been upgraded and are back in service, but the 1969 vintage cars had retained coveted front seats right next to the operator with spectacular Delaware River views. Those seats will be eliminated due to security concerns. The contest winner to ride the rail fan seat on the final run didn't show, so those who did took turns. Next to Secaucus, where canine fans crowded into the Meadowlands Expo Center for the World Dog Expo, which provided opportunities for dogs and owners to participate together in sports, education, training, and other bonding experiences, which ran the gamut from dock diving to disc dog and lure coursing, and even weight pulling, that was for the dogs, and gave humans an array of opportunities to purchase pet products or even adopt a new friend. Finally, Jersey City, and packing a punch. 21-year-old Tyler Ballin grew up on these streets, trained to be a boxer, and instead found his power in painting. As a high school student, Ballin's art was selected to hang in the United States Capitol, and he was selected to join the Eileen S. Kaminsky Family Foundation, which has awarded him grants and given him space to work. Tyler Ballins just graduated from the prestigious Maryland Institute College of Art, and his most recent work, on display at the Manna Contemporary Gallery, depicts in biblical themes the gang violence, child neglect, and death familiar to his childhood neighborhoods. He's quoted as saying he wants to leave something with essence, with a powerful impact. Tyler Ballins only just begun. And that's a Garden State Express for Tuesday, June 12th. Something up in your neighborhood? Tip us off. Building sustainable communities strong enough to withstand the forces of nature while protecting natural lands and waterways takes a special breed of developers. A select few each year are honored by the organization New Jersey Future. Michael Hill met some of them at this year's award ceremony.
Hands Inc. did not see the old Harvard Printing Company in Orange as just abandoned when it bought it before the Great Recession.
We have a track record of having vision and being stubborn about our vision, and we have confidence in our partners.
Those partners remediated the site's environmental issues and replaced the printing company with a 4-story apartment building, more than half the 128 units for affordable housing, lots of walking space, parking too, by preserving the historic Art Deco factory building right next to a stop on the New Jersey Transit Essex and Morris line.
People will be able to commute straight into the city without using car and burning gasoline. So we think it's just a great use for the land. We really believe in urban redevelopment. We feel that it's a much smarter growth pattern.
The architect's design called for uncovering and redirecting a fork of the east branch of the Rahway River, allowing Orange and West Orange to cope with stormwater in Sandy-type events.
This is the first time that an urban site like this has had a stream literally daylit. In history, what happened was you took these kinds of urban streams and you put them in pipes so that you could build on top of them. Now we're getting smarter and realizing that streams need some space to breathe and grow and do what they're supposed to do in managing storm events.
The project has earned one of 8 Smart Growth Awards from New Jersey Future.
We think the best way for people to learn about smart growth is to see great examples of smart growth.
The public nominates candidates for the Smart Growth Awards, and then an independent selection committee of professional developers, planners, architects, and redevelopment experts from across New Jersey does the judging.
We were also looking at some projects that were like at the nexus of economic development and environmental improvements. And this year specifically, we were looking for projects that demonstrated climate change resiliency features.
The jury found plenty examples of all those criteria. Somerville turning its Division Street from blah to beautiful. Developers in Hoboken adding new housing, 2 parks, recreation sites, all near mass transit, and features to deal with Sandy-type flooding in one of the densest cities in the state, sitting on low lands and filled in wetlands along the Hudson River.
The building and the site has these underground pipes that hold 450,000 gallons of water. So in the event of a rain event, what would happen is the rain would go go into these pipes. Pipes would store the water, and then the water would then eventually slowly be let out into the sewer system so as to avoid flash flooding.
Sandy has the industry redesigning its purpose.
Things like Sandy don't happen every day, but when they do, they're so impactful and so destructive. So now architects, planners, engineers, policymakers are all thinking not just to deal with the next 100-year storm, but really thinking what could be on a regional basis a way to think differently so that we can manage the impacts.
In other words, smart designs make smart growth. Michael Hill, NJTV News.
Now some noteworthy facts that help you know Jersey. New Jersey's current sales tax is 6.625%. New Jersey voters approved casino gambling in Atlantic City in 1976. The first PATCO trains began operating in New Jersey in 1969. And New Jersey is one of just 13 states that requires hair braiders to be licensed by the State Board of Cosmetology. If there's someone you'd like to get to know Jersey, share. Use hashtag KnowJersey. Tomorrow on NJTV News, Jersey's tough gun laws are about to get tougher. To share any story you've seen tonight, go to njtvnews.org. I'm Mary Alice Williams. For all the men and women of NJTV News, thank you for being here. We'll see you tomorrow.
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. NJM Insurance Group, serving the insurance needs of New Jersey residents and businesses for more than 100 years. And Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.